Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mommy Talk. My name is Sarah, and this is where I like to talk about my life and all things mommy. And welcome to week 15 of my pregnancy vlogs. But today is, along with week 15, it is also my anniversary today. So happy anniversary to me. I am going on 6 years today with my handsome boyfriend, Cody, and I will insert picture, hopefully, like, here somewhere. Yay, love. Okay, anyway, so, I know that I did not update last week's video, and I apologize for that. I did record a 14-week vlog, however, I lost all of my footage for week 14, so that wasn't able to be posted. So we're just going to go ahead and go with week 15 instead of delaying that update any longer. So, yeah, let's go ahead and dive right into it. I did make a list of things that I talked about in week 14 vlog, and I'll try and, you know, put them into this vlog if it's important, but, so let's just go ahead and start with week 15. Yay! Okay, so, last week I was talking about how, I am officially, by everyone's standards, in trimester 2. So I know that it can vary a lot between people. A lot of people say 12 weeks, some people say 13, some people say it's not until 14 weeks, depending on just who you're talking to, what professional, what website, whatever. So now that I am past even 14 weeks, I am officially in trimester 2. So hooray for that! I am so excited! I am past... I've made it into the second trimester, so I'm so excited about that. This week the baby is as big as a navel orange. Last week it was the size of a lemon, and I actually had a lemon to show you guys, and I was going to get an orange this week to show you guys, but I just didn't have the time. But next week I will have the fruit for you guys. I will have actual fruit so that you guys can compare and contrast how big the baby is growing, so I'm very excited about that. Okay, so last week I also talked about weight gain, because I actually did get a question about that, about how much weight that I've gained this pregnancy so far. And last week I was talking about how it's really hard to tell because my weight has fluctuated so much. My official starting weight was 122 pre-pregnancy, and it continued to, it would always fluctuate by like 5 pounds around that. So sometimes I'd go all the way down to like 118, but sometimes I'd be all the way up to like 127. At last week's baby doctor appointment, I weighed 127. So yeah, so I guess if by that standard I have gained 5 pounds this pregnancy at 15 weeks. So 5 pounds. So symptoms for this past week, I am still having quite a bit of nausea, still has not gone away. For Parker's pregnancy, I actually had morning sickness like the whole pregnancy. Like it never even stopped. Literally from pretty much the time I found out I was pregnant to the day he was born, I was throwing up, nauseous. I mean, it was really bad. I used to have like blood vessels constantly broken in my face. It kind of looked like I had really bad acne, actually. I don't know if any of you have ever experienced that, but it was horrible. And I literally threw up so badly that my blood vessels in my eyes broke, and it, like, half my eye would be like red, that red yellowy color. I don't know if you guys have ever seen someone with an eye with a broken blood vessel, but it is scary looking. It looks like they're demonized or something, and that's what happened to me. And that was because the amount of pressure I had from throwing up so much was just terrible. And they had to put me on a prescription antacid because the constant throwing up was like eating away the lining of my esophagus, so I would like throw up blood and stuff. Shaden was not nearly as bad. I did have pretty bad morning sickness with him, but it did start to fade about the middle of the second trimester, so probably around like 22 weeks, I think. That is when that morning sickness for that happened. So just to kind of compare the 3 pregnancies between the two, I'm really hoping that I don't have to go all the way until like 20 weeks and still experiencing nausea. But I do have to say it's really not as bad lately, just because I do have my anti-nausea meds. I am still taking the Zofran, and also I pretty much have it like squared off to like the morning of the day. So morning sickness, the name morning sickness has never actually applied to me until recently, because it literally is just right in the morning. Like pretty much from the moment I open my eyes, I'm very nauseous, and then I usually throw up about once or twice daily, and then I'm usually okay for, like, once I get, like, my throwing up out of the way, then I am usually okay enough to take my pill, and then I'll be okay for the rest of the day. So I don't know how I would feel or how I would do without the anti-nausea medication, and I hope that I don't have to find out. Up until just a couple days ago, really, I feel like I've been just like extremely hormonal this pregnancy, and this takes a lot, I think, for me to admit, and maybe even just like women in general to admit, but I have not been a nice person this pregnancy. Like I don't even want to be around myself sometimes. Like I just have been so mean and irritable, and it has only literally been within the past like 2 or 3 days that I really finally feel like, oh my gosh, I just feel so much better. I feel so much more optimistic about life. I feel so less irritable to be like around people. I've pretty much been dealing with it since the beginning of my pregnancy, but I finally this week, I do kind of feel like that whole stereotypical like getting your energy back and feeling like feeling better just about life, and I do kind of feel like pregnant. I think finally I just feel better. I don't know. Because all during my first trimester, I barely left the couch. Like, I literally only left the couch to do things that I had to, or go places that I had to, like school, or if I had to take care of the boys or something. Luckily, Cody has been there to help me with a lot of things. Like, I don't even know where I would be without him, because, like, he's just been so much of a help to me. But yeah, so I finally feel like I'm able to clean my house again, because that was really going by the wayside. I feel like I'm able to get up and get dressed and take a shower. I mean, I always take a shower, but I feel so much better just about life in general, I guess. I have never had the symptom of having sore breasts. That was never a problem for me in either of my pregnancies with the boys. Up until recently, it was never a problem or a symptom of this pregnancy, up until just like last week, and it was literally like the day before my doctor's appointment, and like I don't know, I just like took off my bra like the day before my doctor's appointment, and then they just were so sore. Like I could barely touch them. It felt like the only thing I can compare it to is the soreness you get from being like engorged with milk. Like if you've never been pregnant before, or if you've never breastfed before, or if you have breastfed and you've never experienced engorgement before, it makes your breasts like really sore. Like your breasts just like fill up to the max, and then some with milk, and then it just like, it basically expands all your milk ducts, and it leaves your breasts feeling like really sore even when they're empty, because they've been stretched out so much. At least I think that's my theory, because that's pretty much what I'm experiencing. But that's what it felt like. It just like, my boobs were so sore to the touch. I didn't even want to look at them, because I felt like if I looked at them, even that would hurt them. And that lasted for about 3 to 4 days, and then it was just gone. Like they feel so much better now. Like they're still a little like sensitive to the touch, but it really wasn't even a problem. But it did suck, because the day of my doctor's appointment was like my first doctor's appointment. And I guess I'll get to that, but I had to have a breast exam, and so she had to touch them, and it just wasn't fun. So anyway, so another question that I kind of got was what cravings that I had, and I thought I would answer that real fast. Last week I was talking about how I didn't really, like, I have had cravings this pregnancy. I just don't know how much of it is, like, pregnancy-related cravings, because, I mean, we as people get cravings even when we're not pregnant. Like, I do all the time. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have had cravings just for, like, random foods when I'm not even pregnant. So I don't know how much of it is just like, oh my god, I need this because I'm pregnant, or if it's just because I'm like, oh, that sounds really good. I really want this. But I have craved certain foods. This pregnancy, in the beginning, it was more like salty, vinegary kind of foods. Like, I did really like the pickles. So that was like a big thing for a while. I do really enjoy like eating lemons with salt, which I know you guys think that's probably weird, but that's how I've eaten them pretty much like as a kid. And I come from kind of like a saltaholic family. So we eat pretty much everything with salt. Like, I even eat my strawberries with salt. Like, that's how weird I am. But yeah, so that's the kinds of things that I tend to, like, want more. Not necessarily like crave them, like, oh my god, I just need this right now. But when I'm like looking through the cupboards or like trying to find out what to eat, like something that sounds good, like I'll usually tend to gravitate towards those kinds of foods. So the last pregnancy symptom that I have to report on is I was nursing Shaden right up until about 3 weeks ago, I'd say, but I did not want to continue breastfeeding as of like a month ago. Like it was getting really uncomfortable for me, and it had gone from like a bonding experience to I just don't even want to nurse you right now. I don't want to have to deal with it. It's very uncomfortable, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I wanted to wean him, but he was very persistent. He didn't really want to wean, which made me feel like a little guilty because I really believe in self-led weaning for the babies, that like, you know, you wean when they're ready. But I couldn't do it anymore. Like I said, it was just very uncomfortable. So anyway, I stopped weaning him, or I think I officially weaned him about 3 weeks ago, and every once in a while he still asks to nurse, but I try not to do that just because my milk has already changed into colostrum. And not that that would be a bad thing if he nursed on colostrum, it's just I just don't want to nurse anymore. But that's my pregnancy symptom, is they pretty much, when I stopped nursing him, it immediately turned into colostrum. I've never had a problem producing milk. I've never had a problem producing colostrum. I've always started producing colostrum very early on in pregnancy, so this really doesn't come as any surprise to me. The thing that does kind of come as a surprise is, I mean, I don't leak it ever, but when I do kind of like press on it a little bit, it will like leak out a little bit, and it's very like thick, and I don't remember a lot about how my colostrum felt like, because it usually only lasts like a few days after birth, and I don't really pay much attention to it, I guess, during pregnancy, because it's not like I'm squeezing it out or anything like that. But yeah, it's a very, very thick, syrupy kind of substance. So I don't know. I don't remember if that's how all colostrum is, but I do know that it's supposed to be kind of thicker than milk. So something that I do also have to report on is I lost my mucus plug, which I did lose with Shaden's pregnancy, but it was literally like pretty much like a few days before I went into labor. That's kind of like one of the signs that I knew that I was going to go into labor soon. And with Parker, I never lost it at all. I didn't even know what it was at first when I lost it with Shaden, but because I did lose lots of it with Shaden in the few days previous to active labor, I knew kind of what I was looking at when I went to the bathroom and I wiped, and there was my mucus plug like on the tissue paper, which I know is TMI, but obviously like some of you girls probably have experienced this before or not. I did worry a little bit just because I am only 15 weeks, so it did kind of worry me a little bit, but I have been assured that most likely it will rebuild itself, and that I only really need to worry about it if I continue to keep losing more of it, and if I have any associated pain and or like bleeding, and of course like leaking of the amniotic fluid. So as far as I know, I haven't had any of those. I did cramp quite a bit after I lost the mucus plug, so that did worry me a little bit. I pretty much cramped for like a day or two after I lost it, and I did lose a big chunk of it at first, and then I lost like a little bit of chunks like after that. God, that sounds so gross to say. I'm sorry. But it's true, it's true. So I did lose that, and so I am going to keep a lookout out for that, because even though I have been assured that most likely it's normal and then it can rebuild itself, that it also can be a sign of preterm labor. So hopefully we will not be experiencing that, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm keeping this baby in for as long as she wants to be in there, and I have carried all my babies to term so far, so I am not really ready to not carry this baby to term as well. So, and another thing that I have to report on is, as of this week, I am officially feeling baby flutters. I did mention in my 14-week vlog that I thought that I was feeling something, that I just wasn't quite sure, that maybe it was just like in my mind, but I am most certain now that what I'm feeling is little tiny baby kicks, little tiny baby flutters, and it's definitely not anything strong enough to feel like on the outside yet, but I can definitely feel it, and I'm so very excited about that. And I did have my first doctor's appointment this past week, And I have to say, if I wasn't convinced that I didn't want to go to this doctor's office before, I am more than convinced that I don't want to go now. I just felt extremely uncomfortable, and even though the appointment was with the OBGYN that I had for both Parker and Shaden, she didn't deliver either of my babies, but she was my primary like doctor during my maternity care for both of their pregnancies. But there is a rotation in that doctor's office. So you see like 4 different doctors just within that office, and then there's like 4 or 5 more other doctors that don't even come to that office. But she's my main primary caregiver, and I really just, I used to think that I liked her, but now, especially now that I've done more research and just like the way that I was handled at my doctor's appointment, I don't feel comfortable going back there, and I really would like to get this insurance thing figured out. And the more and more I go down on my, like, further in my pregnancy, I'm seriously just really considering a home birth. I really wanted to birth at a birthing center because it really sounded nice, and I do have that slight paranoia that something will go wrong with either me or the baby, and I just want to have that reassurance that it's right there, and that that if something, God forbid, were to happen, that like everything would be right there. But I am a big advocate for home birth, and I do believe that it's a wonderful thing. It's just that I am over a half an hour away from the hospital, and there's just that slight paranoia in me. But I do want to still kind of have a home birth. The only reason that I kind of don't is because my house is extremely, extremely small, and I don't feel like it would be clean enough for me to feel comfortable to labor in my own house. And I know that sounds terrible, but like that's actually a really big concern of mine, is that by the time I get to as big as I am, I won't feel energetic enough to clean up my house by the time the onset of labor comes on. So, but that may change. So I guess I will keep you updated on that, whether or not I will be birthing at home or where I'm going to be birthing at. But I just really don't want to be going back to that doctor's office. Some of the things for one, I know that this is my 3rd pregnancy, but she never even asked if I had any questions or if I had any concerns, not even once. The first thing that she did was she did kind of take a look at my chart and everything, and she kept asking me questions that may have been necessary, but at the same time, like, I felt like they had nothing to do with my medical care. She kept asking very personal questions like, so are you and the father still together? Is the father working? Are you working? Are you just going to school? What are you going to school for? And I guess maybe that's important, but at the same time, like, why is that important? It made me feel like she kind of had an attitude that I was back there again, that I was back there for my 3rd pregnancy, and that all my children are so close, because all of my children will be almost exactly 2 years apart. And I am not currently working right now, and I am only going to school, so I felt like it was like an attitude kind of thing, like, oh my gosh, so you're not even working, you're on Medicaid right now, like that's the insurance that I'm on because I don't have a job with benefits or anything like that, and Cody does not have benefits either, but even if he did, like, we're not officially married, so I wouldn't be eligible for those benefits. So it just made me feel like very small, and it just made me feel like, I don't know, it just the way that she presented those very personal questions that really didn't have anything to do with my maternity care. She didn't ask if I had any questions, which I did, and she kind of left in a hurry. So it was just kind of an awkward appointment. The only thing that I was there for, I felt like, was I had a pelvic exam and a breast exam. Like, that was my first experience with my doctor was having those exams, which are very uncomfortable. And then I just felt like it was, I don't know, it wasn't the experience that I was kind of expecting. But she did listen to the baby's heartbeat, and the baby's heartbeat was actually 157 at the doctor's appointment, which actually raised from the last time we heard the appointment. If you remember from, I think, my 13-week video, though the heartbeat at my sonogram was 153, and so it actually raised a few beats. I guess the last thing that I am able to say is I'm not being able to lay on my stomach for long periods of time, if at all, like when I'm sleeping, which really depresses me because that is like my main way of sleeping. I love sleeping on my stomach. I hate sleeping on my back or my sides. So that, and also some of my shorts and my pants are starting to get a little bit tighter. So I think that I am starting to grow a little bit, even though maybe I'm just not being able to see it. But yeah, so I am starting to grow, and I will show you my 15-week belly here in just a second. So I guess you guys can kind of judge for yourself to see if I've gotten any bigger or not. And the last thing I kind of want to talk about is I am going to be doing a gender wives' tales predictions video, and I thought that would be like really fun. But I don't remember all of the rules for all of the genders wives' tales, so I would love, love, love if you guys gave me suggestions down in the comment section down below, or on my Facebook page, or anything like that. If you guys had any suggestions and the guidelines that go along with that, I would love to hear you guys' feedback on that. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing a gender wives' tales just for fun, just to kind of see like what the gender is. I've already scheduled my gender ultrasound. It is going to be on June 27th. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. This whole pregnancy has just been flying by, I feel like. I can't even hardly believe that I'm 15 weeks already and that I already have a gender ultrasound anatomy scans scheduled, and that it's only like a month away, like literally a month from yesterday. So I'm pretty excited about that. The other thing that I wanted to put out to you guys is, along with the gender wives' tales video, is if you guys wanted to put in your own gender guesses, you can go to something called expect.net. And I have set up a gender game for that, and you guys can put in like your opinions on what you think that the gender will be, based on like any wives' tales that you guys have, or just based on intuition or whatever you guys want to do. I thought that would be so much fun, so I hope that I get some feedback and responses for that. Again, that website is expect.net, and the game is called MommieTalk. So if you guys just enter in that game, it will take you right to my page. I still am in the process of kind of setting everything up, but I'm really, really excited about this. I actually heard about it from a friend, and I'm kind of excited to try it out. So I hope that you guys that are watching, you guys go and insert your guesses there. So I guess the last thing that I have to do is show you my 15-week belly. So this is with the shirt on. Okay. Okay, and here is with the shirt up. I have been meaning to get a measuring tape. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, so I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to keep measurements of my stomach yet, but I still have been meaning to do that because I just thought it would be interesting to see. And we can always just start, I guess, a little later than normal. This is my first time doing pregnancy vlogs, so I don't really know what all the normal is. And, you know, if there's something that you guys want to see in the videos, or if there's something that you want me to talk about, you can always leave me suggestions in the comment section down below. And if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and ask. I guess I will see you guys for week 16. All right, see you later. Bye!